everybody. Welcome back to Fire Your MD Now Radio. This is Mike Phillips filling in once again for Dr. Peter Glidden. It is November 7th, 2014, and it's a beautiful day. We don't even have any snow yet. We got, a bit up here in Alberta, but it kept going away, so we're counting our blessings. Now, I got a quote for you. I'm going to read this. Try and guess who said it. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. The man that said that was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm going to read that one more time. I want you to just let it percolate in your brain. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. Now, why would he say that? Because when you go to the hospital or when you go to a doctor, they're supposed to help you. They're supposed to make you better. It's a betrayal. It's like when you hear about priests that molest little boys. Our religious leaders are supposed to be there for our good, aren't they? Priests are supposed to teach you to love your neighbor, aren't they? Doctors are supposed to help you. Well, that's not the situation. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. knew that. Call-in line is 844-374-5433. Once again, 844-374-5433. We got a number of things that I'd like to cover on the show today. We've got Tim Boland of BolandReport.com calling in to speak a little bit about the latest victory over the so-called skeptics. Now, that just kills me how these people call themselves skeptics. Let me tell you what they do. They go around and they look for people who are doing anything outside of the mainstream or what is believed to be the status quo. That's not being a skeptic. It's being a conformist. And they attack practitioners of anything that would be considered alternative health care. Now, I hate that term, alternative health care, because I got involved with Dr. Peter Glidden about 3.5 years ago after the mainstream medical system, the accepted way that things are supposed to go couldn't do a thing for me and my family. Our health was getting worse and worse all the time. And it didn't matter what a nice guy the doctor was. They were failing us, and they were getting paid big bucks to do it. Get off that train. I'm serious. There's nothing. It's all going to crash, okay? It's all going to crash. And I'm going to give you an example of that. The Mail Online is reporting that the National Health Service is heading for a crash. Okay, they're running out of money. Okay, now here's the report. The NHS is on a knife edge, which could lead to unexpected disasters, a senior boss has admitted. Paul Bowman, the health service's financial chief, gave a stark warning after it emerged. Hospital waiting times are at their worst for 6.5 years. It came as a report revealed the number of hospitals needing emergency government bailouts has doubled in 12 months. The National Audit Office said 31 trusts had handouts last year, costing more than £500 million, and nobody's getting better. You call that health care? I call it a scam. MPs and health experts said the situation was deeply alarming. Oh, we didn't know this was going to happen. Figures released yesterday show 3.2 million patients are waiting for operations, scans, and treatment the most since April 2008. And I'll tell you what, I bet you those operations and scans and treatment are a pile of crap. I bet you they're not going to do a damn thing for anybody except for maybe the local coroner or the drugstore or your local pharmaceutical company rep. So this includes 37,712 people waiting for surgery longer than the government target of 18 weeks, nearly double the number in May of 2010. So the government says, we're going to make sure that you get in to see a doctor within 18 weeks for surgery. Well, guess what? That's 37,712 promises broken. Now, I know it might be shocking to you that a politician might go back on his word or throw around promises that they can't possibly keep. But hey, you keep voting for him, don't you? Mr. Bowman told an NHS England meeting yesterday, this feels as if it is the year we are on the knife edge. He said the health service can't guarantee against any unexpected disasters. Well, I'll guarantee you there's a lot of expected disasters in that doctors and hospitals are going to kill a whole lot of people. Now, for those 37,712 people sitting around waiting for a surgery, that tells me it's the perfect time to take your health into your own hands. Perfect time. Because they're not going to help you anyways. Even if you do get in for that surgery. Now that's the rub. Mr. Bowman's knife-edge comment is understood to refer to whether NHS England would meet financial targets. Today's report by the National Audit Office shows the number of hospitals needing government bailouts rose from 17 in 2012 and 13 to 31 between 2013 and 14. Margaret Hodge, MP, chairman of the influential Public Accounts Committee, said the report was deeply alarming. Oh, there's that word again. Deeply alarming. Adding, I do not believe it is any exaggeration to say that the future sustainability of our National Health Service is at risk. Well, it always was. And you know what else? They always knew it. We get reports about it all the time here in Canada. We get actuaried studies telling us that our healthcare system is absolutely unsustainable financially. It's not going to work. It's not intended to work. So, injustice, big waste of money, and they don't care. Some trusts are only getting by on handouts. Things are getting worse. And we all know that when trusts are under this kind of financial stress, it's the quality and safety of patient care that can suffer. Well, I'm glad they figured that out. Well, but you know what? That's not even true, because the more money they throw at it, doesn't even get any better. Because they can't think outside the box. They have an inherent inability to think about something new. Guess who suffers? You and your kids. NHS Chief Simon Stevens said that without the money, consequences for patients would be severe. Well, even with that money, the consequences for patients are going to be severe because they stuck at their job. The Patients Association, Catherine Murphy, says we receive many calls about delays in treatment, incorrect diagnosis, and undignified care. They don't care. Let me read that. Let me repeat those three things. Delays in treatment, incorrect diagnosis, and undignified care. They're terrible. Yet you trust them. Every single day, people are filling waiting rooms in hospitals all over Britain and North America, Australia. You know this thing we called Western medicine? It's not working, people. Well, I'll tell you what. God has given us everything that we need right underneath our feet. I'm dead serious. It's that simple. The minerals in the soil from whence you come are all you need in your body to heal itself. You don't have to languish with diabetes for years on end. You don't have to ever get cancer. You know that? You don't have to ever get cancer. And you might feel fine right now, But you just try and look down the road at where things are going. Even if you trust them, they're not going to be around. You've got to take things into your own hands. There's a flood coming, and you got to build an ark, buddy. It's that simple. Labor's health spokesman Jamie Reed said NHS waiting lists are still heading in the wrong direction. People will be alarmed to hear NHS bosses talking about possible imminent disasters. Wasn't that what politicians do? I mean, if there wasn't an approaching disaster, they couldn't come in and act like the savior and ask for more money to fix it. Quit being scammed, people. Quit being scammed. Your body needs 90 essential vitamins, minerals, and amino and fatty acids. And you know what? If you can secure a way to get them inside you, you're going to avoid all those lineups. And you know what else? Our waiting rooms in the hospitals would go down by 2/3. 2/3. If just, say, out of 35 million people here in Canada, say 20 million of them got on board with what's going to work. You would absolutely save the economy of your country. Not only that, but you would save your own personal economy. You don't have to head for a financial holocaust in the name of health care. Now, I got stories on deaths from aspirin. Got stories on the true cost of cancer. We're going to be talking about that coming right up. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back right after this. Mike Phillip once again filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. The call-in line is 1-844-374-5433. Now, if you're an insider with Dr. Glidden, he was supposed to have a webinar on vaccines last night, and he ran into some technical difficulties. I personally think that the New World Order does not want you to hear it. I'm joking. I don't know. It's probably technical difficulties. Let's take our phone lines, and we're going to go over to Wayne in Alberta. Wayne, how you doing today?
Hello, Mike.
Wayne, what's up, my man?
Well, I tell you, longevity's just working beautiful for me.
Well, do tell. I'd love to hear all about it, Wayne.
Well, for 21 years, I haven't been able to run because I was paralyzed from waist down in 93 for 3.5 months, and I was able to outrun my 4-year-old grandson for the first time up a hill.
Paralyzed from the waist down since, what was it, 93?
Yeah, for 3.5 months.
Wow.
I got a lot of nerve damage.
And so you've got a lot more feeling and strength in your legs is what's going on.
Yes, sir. Got way more feeling. I'm starting to, my lower extremities are about 75% numb, and I'm getting a lot more feeling in them. Nice.
That's amazing. Feeling. That's absolutely amazing. You know, I was just talking before the break there about the National Health Service in Great Britain, and they've got all these people on long waiting lists for surgeries, and I bet you a lot of those people are looking to get a spinal fusion or, you know, for the same problems that you had, and you were able to overcome it on your own at home just by giving your body what it needs.
Yes, amen. And
that's awesome.
Talked to a guy that delivered the wood from us, and he's got some spinal fusions and that, and he's really interested. I gave him a couple of samples, and I think he'll be coming next Thursday.
That's awesome. So you and him will both be racing your grandson soon.
Yes, amen.
That kid won't know what to do. He's going to have to start running faster. So what else has longevity done for you, Wayne? Like, let me give you some inside baseball, everybody. I know Wayne. He comes to my Thursday night meetings here in Camrose. And in about the last, I'd say, 4 months, I've seen Wayne and his wife, Colleen, absolutely transform before our eyes. Colleen has lost a huge amount of weight. She's got color in her face. The color is coming back into her hair. Wayne has lost weight. What else happened with you there, Wayne?
I got rid of my cancer on my head, a skin cancer. They wanted to butcher me up with skin grafts and everything else. Within 3 weeks' time of taking longevity, I got rid of that. And I got to think for a minute.
Weren't you diabetic?
Yeah, I got rid of my insulin within 36 days.
36 days off the insulin. Isn't that amazing? So, Wayne, you probably saved our healthcare system thousands of dollars just in a few months.
Oh, God, yes.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Wayne, thanks so much for calling. I really appreciate you. And, people really need to hear things like this, like what happened with you, because I guarantee you right now there's somebody out there listening that's got all kinds of problems similar to what you had going on, and they have no hope, and they're looking for something to get them out of the ditch and back up on the road racing their grandson.
Well, that insulin, that creates you being depressed all the time, too, and I didn't know that until I got off it.
Well, you seem like a pretty happy guy to me now, Wayne.
Very, very happy.
Wayne, that is awesome. I appreciate you. We appreciate all that you're doing to spread the word about how people don't need to be sick and suffering anymore. I'm going to let you go, Wayne. Thanks for calling in.
God bless, Mike. Love you lots.
All right. Talk to you later, Wayne. Wayne is a great guy. If you out there listening had seen for yourself what's happened with this guy, you heard him. Skin cancer on the top of his head, insulin dependency, paralyzed from the waist down, all gone. It's been 4 months. 4 months. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Are you as smart as Wayne? Call in 844-374-5433. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. We're live on Fire Your MD Now Radio. Mike Phillip once again filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. And I pulled this story out of Global News, the true cost of cancer. The true cost. How much do cancer drugs cost Canadians? There's the cancer Pierrette Breton is fighting, and then there's the fear of insurmountable medical bills to cover her treatment. In October 2009, Breton was diagnosed with a neuroendocrine tumor in her pancreas. It metastasized into her liver and bones. A single drug helped her fight the cancer, but at a hefty $8,000 per month. $8,000 a month. Free health care, huh? Everybody thinks Canada's got free health care. Nothing can be further from the truth. For a few months, her company's insurance provider covered the bill. After that, insurance brokers warned Breton that her company's premiums would have to take a steep climb. Yeah, so you pay into the insurance your whole life, and we'll cover you, but only to a certain extent. Right? She was already taking sick leave from work, and paying thousands of dollars for her medication each month was not plausible. It was a nightmare for me. It's way too stressful. Some days you can barely cope with going out the door, Breton told Global News. Now, the drug that she used, she's one of the lucky ones. Because 9 times out of 10, those drugs just don't work at all. But I'll tell you this, the condition that existed in her body prior to her getting the cancer that allowed her to get it in the first place, that's still there. Unfortunately, Breton's story is not abnormal for Canadians battling cancer. The fate of some Canadians in health and medical coverage is ultimately determined by the drug that will hopefully save them. If they're handed a treatment plan with oral medication instead of therapy delivered via IV in hospital, patients may have to pay out of pocket for their care depending on where they live in Canada. Deborah Maskins has seen it all. A patient in PEI who had to remortgage his home to free up some cash. Couples in Nova Scotia who cashed in their retirement savings for the drug that could save a life. Families in Ontario who max out credit cards to buy more treatments. What's worse is she's seen some patients who decide that they won't bankrupt their families. Instead, they decline treatment altogether. Well, if you look at the rates of treatment with drugs and cancer, I don't know what's worse. Quite honestly, looking at the numbers, I think I would opt out too. If you're a cancer patient under age 65 on oral drugs, you're paying your mortgage, your bills, and now you have to pay for cancer drugs. The patient next door who needs an IV doesn't pay a thing regardless of age or income and can get started within 2 weeks, Maskins explained. You can't discriminate one cancer patient from another, she said. Maskins has advanced kidney cancer, but her oral medications have turned the disease into a chronic condition. She knows her situation is a rarity. She has full coverage for her current medication. She's the founder of Kidney Cancer Canada. After putting together the organization, she spearheaded a project called Can Certainty, a campaign that calls for fair and equal access to cancer medication. So far, 35 Canadian cancer organizations have joined the cause. Right now, what Canadians have to pay for cancer drugs taken orally varies across the country. In Western Canada, it doesn't matter how the drugs are getting into your system, patients don't face the burden of paying or waiting for coverage. Not only will you pay $0, but you leave the oncologist's office and go down the hall to pick up your pills and go home, Maskins explained. But in Ontario and Atlantic Canada, coverage is spotty. A maze of deductibles and patchwork solutions based on your household income, your private insurance, if any, and your provincial pharmacare plan. The patients often wait 6 to 8 anxious weeks while all of this gets sorted out. They really don't care about you. Get it through your head. Get it through your head. So if you look at Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, $0 out of pocket per month. Okay? Ontario, $3,400 on average. Quebec, $992. New Brunswick, $2,000. Nova Scotia, $23,400. PEI, $14,400. And in Newfoundland, $8,500. Here's the deal. Those drugs don't work most of the time. They are bilking sick people. Now, I'd like to remind you of the quote that I read at the beginning of this broadcast. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. If I sound a little bit hoarse to you, it's because I'm losing my voice from being on the phone talking to people about their health problems all day. Come to think of it, I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine in Ontario. He was talking to a lady who is on SSRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And he asked her, why are you on these antidepressants? She said, because the doctor told me I had a chemical imbalance. And he said, really? So how did that doctor determine you had a chemical imbalance? Did he look in your brain? Did he drill a hole in your head and put a dipstick in it and check the fluids? Which chemicals are imbalanced in your brain? And she said, well, I was depressed. He said, why? She said, well, my mom died. Doctors have no clue what they're doing a lot of the time. I mean, your mother dies, you're supposed to be sad. And you take a few months and you get over it. That's life. You don't need a drug. It's that simple. And so for this doctor to sit there across from this young lady who's in grief because her mother died and say, you have a chemical imbalance, I'm going to give you this drug. It's like looking at the car across the street and saying, it needs a fuel additive because the injectors are dirty. You don't hear it running. You don't see it moving. You just look at it and make that determination. Well, that's what they're doing every single day. And not only that, but those SSRIs have been known to drive people to suicide and violent outbursts. The solution is worse than the problem. Don't go to them. I mean, if you're feeling sad, stay home and get over it. Feed your body what it needs. Don't sit around eating ice cream. And don't go on a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's one of the worst possible things that you can do. Now, at the same time, doctors are telling us that we should avoid vitamins because they're dangerous and they'll kill you. How about this interesting little tidbit? 3 deaths in Equilute related to prescription Tylenol overdose. Nanovet's coroner's office has issued a public warning about the dangers of Tylenol combined with alcohol after 3 deaths in Equilute, a city of about 7,000 people, in the past 8 months. So they want to regulate the sale of minerals and vitamins and nutritional supplements, but you can walk into any Safeway or Walmart and grab a bottle of Tylenol. At the same time, you can walk in any liquor store and get booze. That's not regulated. Oh, but vitamins, that's bad. The deaths include a 45-year-old woman who died in March from Tylenol toxicity. The next month, a 71-year-old elder died in the General Hospital due to Tylenol toxicity and liver failure. Then this month, a 45-year-old man died due to Tylenol overdose with liver and kidney failure. Padmas Ramallah says upon investigation, all 3 of those who died had received prescriptions for Tylenol. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. A 4th suspected Tylenol overdose is now under investigation. Coroner says that people need to know more about the effects of the common drug and what happens when it is taken in combination with alcohol. Education needs to take place, the coroner says. When a doctor prescribes the medication, he or she needs to tell the person how many pills they can take and how many they can take, whether they can mix booze, and when he's intoxicated, whether they can take it or not. It's your fault. It's all your fault. You know what? Get your body into a place where you don't need these drugs and the doctors in the first place. Avoid the whole mess. Kathy in Florida, we're going to take your call. How you doing, Kathy?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. What's going on in Florida today?
Oh, it's just nice and sunny right now. I have a question. You and Dr. Glidden talked about phytates.
Yep.
I guess my question is, how long after I eat those kind of foods can I take my minerals and they will be absorbed?
Well, the general rule of thumb is about 2 hours before and 2 hours after. That's what I follow personally. And so are you aware of which foods specifically contain phytates?
No, I just started researching it.
All right. Well, phytates are inherent in nuts, rice, spinach. Just about any of those things are going to contain a phytate, and a lot of leafy greens like kale and things like that. And the reason why you don't want to eat phytates at the same time as a vitamin or a mineral is because they'll bind onto it and pull it right through your body, thus negating your having taken the vitamins and minerals in the first place. Now, it's not going to do it 100%, okay? Like, you're not going to eat a bowl of rice and lose 2 scoops of tangy tangerine right there. It doesn't work that way. But for the purpose of getting as much minerals and vitamins into your body as you possibly can, you want to avoid the whole mess. Kathy, can you stay right there and we're going to come right back to you?
Yes, I will.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, talking to Kathy in Florida. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. We're live. Mike Phillip filling in once again for Dr. Peter Glidden, and we're going to go back over to Kathy in Florida. So, Kathy, we were talking a little bit about foods that you should avoid due to phytate content, and as I said, nuts, rice, spinach, kale, things like that. So, Kathy, have you just recently got involved with Team Glidden?
No, actually, I've been listening for a couple of months now. I've been on the longevity for about 8 months, my husband and I, and we're doing very well on it.
What have you seen happening so far?
Well, let's see. After I finally figured out that the gluten was my problem and got off gluten, I've lost 7 pounds.
Yep.
Which is wonderful. I feel as though that I have more energy and just more focused. I just feel good all over.
Yep, that's how it happens. Yeah, you know, a lot of people out there, even within longevity, they just don't get it when it comes to the whole gluten thing. But gluten is a killer, and people just don't understand that. Now, Kathy, if you like what you're hearing from Dr. Glidden, we have what's called an insider account. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
All right, so if you shoot me an email at mike@teamglidden.ca, I'm going to send you back a link that you can get hooked up with an insider account. Now, what that'll do for you is you will have countless hours of webinars and instruction from Dr. Glidden on how to maximize the absorption of your supplements. Also, what supplements to use in regards to different health problems. Now, we don't cure anything. I got to be real clear on that. And we don't treat anything because the law says that I can't say that. But when you know the proper packs and products to use, you won't have any trouble when you run into people with all kinds of different health problems. Does that interest you?
Yes, it does.
All right. So Mike@teamglidden.ca. Shoot me an email, Kathy, and I'll make sure and send that link to you, and we'll get you fixed right up. Sound good?
Sound good. I have one other question.
All right, shoot.
Can I take my EFA, selenium, glucogels? Can I take them on an empty stomach?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times that's the best way to go. You know, if you're eating foods that don't contain phytates, it's not going to make a huge difference. But I find that if my stomach acids are real good, which they have been ever since I started this program, that I get better absorption and better effects from the EFAs and the glucogel and whatnot if I'm on an empty stomach. So as long as it doesn't make you upset or queasy or anything like that, then absolutely no problem, Kathy.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
Right on, Kathy. You take care. We're going to let you go. So before Kathy called, I was talking about deaths from Tylenol. And it's just amazing to me that the government and lobby groups want to stomp and jackboot their way in and regulate supplements that are actually saving people's lives. And at the same time, they're allowing you to buy things that will hurt you. Let me say that again. They will hurt you. Okay? Now, everything's got what's called an LD50, or a lethal dose for 50% of the population. Okay? Milk. Too much milk will kill you. Dead serious. Too much water will kill you. But they got to put out these warnings for supplements, and the whole thing is totally bogus. The one thing that could save you, you're scared of because you heard some stupid study. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, oh, you can't take vitamin E, it'll give you testicular cancer. Vitamin E gives you testicular cancer? The plot thickens. Mike Phillips filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back with Caitlin after these messages.